Envision yourself getting up out of bed, nothing but the sounds of birds chirping out the window. You walk over to the kids' room, nudging them awake, only for them to roll back over and to sleep again. A distant sound of a plane reaches your ears. You walk down the stairs to the kitchen where your partner meets you in a robe and towel, diligently brushing their teeth. And suddenly, the walls start to shake and the coffee cups fall off the table. And you rush over to the kids' room, but they've already met you halfway. And in an instant, panic replaces comfort, for everything that you know has changed. This was the fate of Anya and countless others in Horenka, Ukraine, February 24th, 2022. Fast forward, June 2022, I am taking a 14-hour train to Kyiv, Ukraine's capital. Lavender lining the train tracks. I hear stories of the first escape, fleeing by car, sleeping on the floor of a church, and seeking refuge in Poland. All the while, a mother is braiding her daughter's hair. They were going home, or what was left of it. It all felt like a different era in time. Stepping off the train, boots on the ground, immersed in a language I can hardly speak. I can read facial expressions and body language. And as I leave the train station, up a flight of stairs, I'm startled by the sounds of air sirens, which was a daily occurrence, and all tracked on a single app. My name is Katanya Timinsky. I am a Canadian-Ukrainian photographer. I began my journey in photography after inheriting a camera. And photography became a tool for me to work through grief and connect with other people and to just capture life in motion. It was a gift during some of the darkest time of my life. And after the aftermath of a pandemic where community feels more than ever fragmented, and we're seeing increases of mental health issues, anxiety, depression, and lack of purpose, and a societal pace that actually felt way too overstimulating, the opportunity to volunteer was something I just couldn't turn down. And the offer to just do something beyond anything I ever experienced it was a non-negotiable for me. And I yearned for a greater perspective. My position was to capture pretty much everything. I interviewed a wide array of people, which resulted in an accumulation of photos and footage that reflected the devastating impact of war. I was escorted by Ministry of Defense and armed forces through high clearance areas and check stops, all by abiding by the daily curfew laws. For the duration of 8 weeks, I listened, I observed everything I could to understand our true nature. A week into my journey, I woke up to the sound of airplanes. 6:30 a.m., groggy. I jump out of bed with growing anxiety. I soon remembered this was not possible due to the cease of operations of Ukraine's airlines. And in that moment, time stood still until the missile passed and reached its target. It wasn't until later that day when the paper came out and it announced that it had hit an apartment building near the downtown core, I realized that the paper is only a micro-reduced account of the past. But what was astonishing to me that despite all of this, people continue to get up every single day. They go to work, they feed their kids, they pay their mortgage, they nurture their relationships, they'd take care of their elderly parents and grandparents. They just kept going. Girls singing in the street, singing songs of hope, a wedding captured of two lovers separated by war, and students graduating, people living in rubble, yet still rebuilding. And how did these people even survive? Every day in our household, we would share meals. Old friends, new friends, honored guests. We'd share family recipes and countless stories. It was soothing and therapeutic to be together. Its provisions to regulate the nervous system, supporting each other with childcare, provisions, and repairs. By doing so, it just felt lighter. As I continued to interview dozens of people, it was a scale that everyone landed on. No matter what, everyone was impacted by this pain that could not be measured. And the amount of gratitude that I had for just merely being there told me a lot. You know, we send people text messages, emails, video calls, but the fact of just being physically present with people gave them strength. As I toured the northwest villages of Kyiv, I landed on a burial ground where I heard a story of how a major news channel was capturing footage of the body's final resting place. And what had happened was they packed up for the night and arrived the following day and asked the locals if they'd be willing to unbury the bodies to capture better footage. I interviewed a woman named Tanya and her daughter. The pain was almost too much for her to bear. Her loving partner was struck in the face with a missile, and her daughter too young to even comprehend this loss. Does it take tragedy or calamity for us to feel something? Does it take near-death experiences for us to realize what really is important? You may recall the saying, when you give to others, you give to yourself. The Cleveland Clinic conducted a study that proved that when engaging in acts of kindness, we release neurotransmitters, or it triggers the release of neurotransmitters such as serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin, which benefit and alleviates mental health issues. It helps with their overall well-being. And not just that, it actually extends our life capacity. When we see our immigrants and newcomers building their lives in our neighborhood, are we not reminded of our ancestors before us? Starting a new life in a brand new culture, speaking a brand new language, going into the work field, integrated into the school system. All the while, the trauma that came with them. The biggest thing that I learned when I was there is the healing can only begin when the danger is gone. Considering our species' existence of conflict, natural disasters, famine, and enduring trauma, I dare to say that kindness is our most potent survival mechanism. Numerous studies have shown that volunteering is associated with happiness and life satisfaction. Individuals who continue to do this, it actually lowers depression or levels of depression and overall well-being. In a day and age where immediate gratification and results are expected, our good deeds and actions may not be seen in our lifetime. It could take generations, but it does not mean it surmounts to nothing. A quote taken by the very talented Jim Carrey: "The effect we have on others is the most powerful currency we have." I can honestly say that volunteering completely changed my life, and the bonds and the connections that I made, I will take to the grave. Let us not forget the beauty and power of our existence. Thank you. Дякую.